Alright, y'all, here is the solutions to the homework and the practice quiz I'm going to give you as well. I'm going to put those solutions on here as well as posting them on Google Classroom. So you were to kind of answer a few questions here. Obviously, if it's a negative z-score, that means you scored lower than the mean. A positive would be above. Different things that have, where the lowest z-score would be most desirable would be in golf. Races like track or car races, NASCAR, etc. There's a lot of things you could look up online that lower score wins. It's quite interesting, some of the stuff you can see from overseas. Not something you have to do. This here says, using the above values, create one of these things. So what I did is I went and created that, and we're just going to use that to make this a lot more simple. Okay. On the next one, I have another one drawn out as well. So when it talks about the percent of adult American men that weigh less than 130 pounds, well, there's 130. Less than that gives me my 2.5%. What percent are between 130 and 205? Well, there's 130. There's 205. So really, again, what I got to do is take half of this graph, which is 47.5, and half of this graph, which is 34. And when I add those together, I get 81.5%. Again, it's taking half of each of them. I cannot say that it's this distance here and take 3/4 of this. 3/4 of 95 is like 70 something, so it wouldn't be 81.5. Okay. Weigh less than 230. Well, look for 230. Less than that would be at or below it, so I'd have to add these two things together and get 97.5%. Okay. What percent of all American men have less than 105? That's kind of an easy one. That's right here. That's just 0.15%. The heaviest 16% weigh how many pounds? Well, there's the highest 16% up here above 205 pounds. So 205 pounds. Okay, that is not a percent problem. What weight separates the lowest 2.5% from everybody else? Well, the lowest 2.5% would be up to 130 pounds, so 130 pounds. Okay. Again, drawing these three things out made it really easy. And on the quiz you're going to have on Friday, you're going to draw these out as well. Okay. All right, so for the next one, I'm going to kind of bring this up here so you can see that. Actually, maybe I'll just do it down here so we can see the problems and this graph at the same time. Okay, so see if I can get this in here. All right, here we go. So here we go. We got the longest 16% of all elephant pregnancies last how many days? I didn't draw it here. I drew it here. And so again, as I move a few things up here, see if I can do this. Okay. We've got the highest 16%. Well, I look for 16, and the highest 16 would be from 557 days on. 557 days. Okay. The middle 68% would be between what? Well, 68% was this graph, between 493 and 557. Okay. Let's see, the only 2.5% lasts longer than, so that means above 2.5. So that would be 589 days right there. Just again, once you draw these graphs out, and what I did again is just put the mean in the middle and the standard deviation in each direction. 2 standard deviations, and 3. This is 1, 2, and 3 standard deviations. Okay. All right, so let's keep going here. Last less than 461 days, that would be 2.5%. Again, just looking at these. Between these 2 days, so 525 and 557, well, that's just half of 68, which is 34%. Between 493 and 587, here's 493, but 589 is on this one. Okay, so I got to take half of this again, just like we did before, 34, plus half of this, because that's that distance, which is again 47.5, and we add those together to get 81.5%. This one's kind of a doozy. What percent of pregnancies last less than 557 days? Here's 557. Oh, just kidding. That's not that hard. That's just adding this and this, and 68 plus 16 is 84%. Now, could I have also just did 100 minus a 16? Yeah, for sure. Okay. Multiple ways to do this. Here's what your practice quiz is going to look like. Okay. This again is posted on Google Classroom. What you would do is you would fill in, of course, when it's talking about the mean is 10, the mean always went here. and the standard deviation is 3, that will be worth 2 points, so make sure that you do that. Okay, and then just all this is just labeling this picture. I would probably press pause, maybe pull this up on Google Classroom and try and fill this in before you just look at mine, but I'm going to explain it here. Okay, so what I'm saying here is we're going to put, of course, 10 in the middle and go up and down by the standard deviation and start labeling these graphs. Okay, I've got 10, 13, 16, and 7, 4. That's 95%, so that gives me 2.5 out here and 2.5 out here. These graphs will be worth points as well. Not that difficult. 10 out here, go another one to 19, go another one to, let's see, what do we got? 1, and that is 99.7, which you can see a little more than what you can in my graphs, which gives me 0.15 and 0.15 out here. Now all this is saying is just 10 and 3 in all of these blanks. I'll explain here what I'm saying. 10 minus 1 times 3. 1 times 3 you would do first because that's multiply, and 10 minus 3 gives me 7. 10 plus 3 gives me 13. That's just how I'm coming up with those numbers. Right? That's all this is asking you to do, is just to solve for, again, 10 minus 1 is, or 9 is 1. 10 plus 9 is 19. And then answer the questions according to the graph. Right? So how many percent are between 7 and 13? Well, that would be 68%. 95% fall between, well, 4 and 16 years. 99.7 between 1 and 19 years. Right? Easy stuff. What percent of students' cars less than 4 years old? That's not really worded correctly. But here's 4. Less than that, of course, would be 2.5%. What are more than 7? Here's 7 right here. More than 7 would be from here that way. So either 100 minus 16 or add these two up. Either way, you get 84%. And then what percent of students are between 10 and 13 years? Well, 10 is here, 13 is here. Half of that would be 34%. I would be prepared for a question like we saw on the other sheet, where I would say how many cars are between 4 and 13 years old? Well, you would look, 13 is here and 4 is here, so you take half of that to get 47.5 and half of that to get 34 and add those together. Okay. Other than that, this is it, guys. This is what the quiz is going to be on Friday. Make sure that you kind of maybe try this, check it out, make sure you know what's going on. On Friday, I will post the quiz, and I will have further directions for that as that comes. Okay? Short video today, just trying to show you the solutions from the homework, solutions from the practice quiz. Again, hopefully you tried to work through this before you just looked at mine, but here it is. Have a good one.